The House of Gucci. The House of Gucci is the story of Maurizio Gucci, who is played by Adam Driver, and Patrizia Reggiani, who is played by Lady Gaga. Maurizio Gucci is the son and nephew of the Gucci brothers, who founded the iconic brand way back in the early 1900s. And in this movie, the Gucci brothers are played by Jeremy Irons and Al Pacino. Maurizio is an awkward young student who's trying to become a lawyer and is living in his home in Milan, Italy. He runs into a woman named Patrizia one day while he's at a party. They fall in love and they end up getting married. Maurizio's father warns him that Patrizia is just like all the other girls he's been with and that they're only in it for his money, which is the Gucci family. And it turns out his father's right and she's just trying to weasel her way into the family to get what she wants, which is more money, power, and the Gucci name. And this movie explores Patrizia trying to weasel her way in. And we have our movie. This movie is quite pleasant and has a lot to offer audiences who are looking for a good story. Myself not knowing much about the Gucci brand other than that it is a very successful empire that makes clothes, I had a lot to learn in this movie and I found that really enjoyable. And I'm happy I got to see it portrayed by such excellent actors who gave excellent performances. Adam Driver and Lady Gaga were both excellent and superb, along with the supporting cast of Jeremy Irons, Al Pacino, Jared Leto, and Salma Hayek. Most of them played as members of the Gucci family. And it turned out to be a fascinating tale of greed, manipulation, and betrayal that really built as the movie went on. It was paced quite well and I had very few problems with it by the time the movie ended. So let's start off with what I liked about this movie. Adam Driver and Lady Gaga gave amazing performances in this movie. Maurizio Gucci starts out as an awkward young guy who's just trying to make it in the world in his early 20s, and he's not the smoothest of operators. And Adam Driver nails that persona earlier on in the movie as he's playing a 20-year-old man, but by the time the movie is finished and Maurizio is more closer to his 50s, where he becomes a naturally more mature, confident guy, which makes sense. A lot of times in your early 20s, you might not be very smooth. By the time you're 50, you've seen a lot of things. And Adam Driver really nailed the mannerisms, the dialogue, and the behaviors throughout the entirety of the movie to really make it. We have really been with Maurizio for this entire saga, and it felt really rewarding by the time the movie wrapped. He really personifies this iconic person and really helps us relate with him on a very strong level, which made it a lot of fun to watch. And secondly, Patrizia Reggiani is portrayed in this film as a sociopath, and the desperation that comes with that, along with the manipulation, is something that Lady Gaga personifies very, very well. She really nails the performance and makes you realize just how crazy this character is. Some of the things Patrizia does to start off are subtle, which Lady Gaga delivers successfully earlier on in the movie. But as the movie builds and the stakes rise, Patrizia digs a hole that's deeper and deeper and deeper, that's filled with greed. And again, Lady Gaga really personifies that combination of greed and desperation in her performance and makes you understand just how drastic Patrizia's methods are and how far she's willing to go in order to get what she ultimately wants. And how crazy she goes in the process, especially when she butts heads with the rest of the family. Also, the pacing for this movie in every aspect was solid. When I say every aspect, I mean runtime, character, and plot development were all at an excellent pace. The movie's runtime is 2 hours and 37 minutes, which can be very, very long for a lot of people, especially if you're like me and you don't love going to late screenings like I went to last night. However, the movie is entertaining and jarring enough to keep you entertained for the entirety of the runtime. I never checked my watch. I never felt, oh my god, is this movie gonna end? Never felt that way throughout the movie. And in addition to that, the character development feels natural and smooth without it ever feeling too jarring or unrealistic. We see Maurizio go from his early 20s and wanting to be a young student lawyer all the way into his 50s. And the manner in which the movie portrays Patrizio's maturement, confidence, and emotional intelligence and the growth in all of these different aspects over time was executed to perfection. When Maurizio's in his 20s, he's a little bit more gullible and a lot less confident. But by the time the movie ends, Maurizio is a confident, calm, and charismatic individual, which feels natural and it totally made sense with the overall plot progression of the movie. And also, even Patrizia's development was also at a great cadence. What helps make this movie fascinating is the ways in which Patrizia is trying to weasel her way into this family. The movie doesn't have her go straight for the throat in the first 5 minutes. It naturally just builds and builds her demands little by little as the movie goes on. And before you know it, she's trying to manipulate several people in the family at once and will do whatever it takes in order to get what she wants. And at the beginning of the movie, I don't even know if it was on her mind to weasel her way into the family fortune or not. But by the time the movie ends, it's like you've got a totally different person on your hands and you even suspect that's what she wanted all along, which just makes the execution all the more impressive. And lastly, the supporting cast was strong all the way around and served as a nice supplement to the movie. Jeremy Irons plays Maurizio's dad Rodolfo, Al Pacino plays Maurizio's uncle Aldo, Jared Leto plays as his cousin Paolo, and Salma Hayek even plays as a friend to Patrizia in this movie. And all of them give really solid performances at minimum that show a certain eccentricism to the Gucci family as well as a bit of a pompousness. They helped make the family as a whole really fascinating to learn about as the movie goes on. And the movie does a good job of spending an adequate amount of time with each of them. It gives you a chance to bask in each of these characters, and all of the performances for each of these characters helped me feel very strongly about all of them and made the movie that much more fulfilling. With one exception, and that actually brings me into the cons. Although Salma Hayek's performance performance as Giuseppina, Patrizia's friend in the movie. I didn't love the inclusion of her character in the movie. The circumstances around how Patrizia and Giuseppina had met and became friends is just mentioned in one half of a scene, but in that one half of a scene, it's a highly unlikely way for two people to develop a friendship, and ultimately it just felt out of place. And given that we see Giuseppina only at the beginning and the latter half, the movie kind of just asks us to believe in the relationship between Patrizia and Giuseppina, and that just totally didn't work for me. And lastly, this movie touches upon some really fascinating topics. For example, doing what you love rather than what your family legacy tells you to do, and I wish I would have explored those a little bit more. We get very brief glimpses into Maurizio's inner turmoil about what he wants to do with his life, how happy he is doing one thing rather than the other. Does he really want to help with the family business? Which I thought was a great addition to the movie. However, the movie spends very little time on that. I'm a sucker for exploring those types of ideas in movies and allowing for greater introspection, and I would have even been okay if the movie was 10 minutes longer if it meant exploring those ideas a little bit further. So my friends, with all that done, I'm going to say this movie is an 8 out of 10. It is a great movie, and I highly recommend seeing it. Friends, have you seen House of Gucci? If so, what'd you think of it? You know where the comment section is. Let me know. Thanks so much for watching another Bankrupt Hippo movie review. If you like this, click right here if you want to see more. I've been Bryce, and until next time, happy Thanksgiving.